Okay, so first, when I started homeschooling, so this will be my 6th year, I had to get a really clear vision of the purpose of education. And I have 2 definitions that I hold to more than anything. And the first one comes from Sarah Mackenzie, and she says, the true goal of education is to order a child's affections, to teach her to love what she ought to love, and to hate what she ought to hate. So in all things, I am just trying to get my children to love what is beautiful, love law, love truth, love mercy, love goodness, and then to also abhor things that are hurtful, things that will destroy them. Okay, and then the other definition I love comes from Marlene Peterson, and she arrived at this because she was asked to create some content for a school in Africa for kids who would most likely not live into adulthood. And so she thought, what is the point of education for these children? And is it the same? And she arrived at the definition that it is to create lives capable of living maximum joy. So I feel like those are the 2 things. So we teach a child to love what they ought to love so that they can live a life of maximum joy. And so I vet everything with that. Like, is this going to cause long-term joy? Yes, there are principles in science and math and economics that if you live and understand, you will create joy in your life. There are some things that I do not feel are necessary for joy. And so I've kind of vetted that out. So I would say that there are 5 things that I have arrived at as far as best methods for teaching. So these are the methods I have come to after extensive research. The first one is that true education is between a child's soul and God. That comes from Charlotte Mason. So I feel like involving God in your child's education is an absolute must. We are to learn by study and also by faith. And working in partnership with Him, I feel like, is the number 1 best method. The second method that I believe and have come to is that father and mother are most suited for the job. And that the home is the ideal environment. 1, because we love the most, we care the most, and in the home is where real life happens. And that's what we're preparing them for, is real life. My third method is to train the heart before the mind. I feel so strongly about this, that we need to put amazing good things into our children's hearts so that they have a reason to use the mind. My 4th one is classic books, and I feel like everything can be learned from classic books. And my 5th one is great mentors. So you yourself becoming a great mentor, and then also exposing your children to other incredible mentors. So my personal favorite homeschool mentors are Marlene Peterson. This book, if you haven't read it yet, is the best. I love it so much. I'm already on round 2, reading it again. Sarah Mackenzie.
Called Marlene Peterson.
Marlene Peterson, yeah, she does The Well-Educated Heart. This is just one of her books. She also has the Catch the Vision course, which I would highly recommend. In fact, I would send anybody there first if they were thinking about homeschool. And then Sarah Mackenzie, I just adore her. I've read this book twice. I love everything that she teaches. And Sally Clarkson, she is another one. I read this book super early on, and I was like, yep, I want to be Sally one day. I feel like you're Sally, Randi. Yes, everything that Sarah does or in Sally is like beautiful. That's totally Randi. Yeah, yep, that's you. And then this one, a Thomas Jefferson education, because I absolutely love the academics and the mind. And so this is kind of more academic based, I feel like. So, okay, so here's what I do. So the first thing I did was I had to quantify everything I wanted to teach my children. So I came up with this list. So I feel like there are 5 core subjects, and those are the exact 5 core subjects that you would see in public school, because they are all in the realm of the mind. They can all be tested. There are facts. There's exact answers, and they are extremely important to being able to live law. They're all based on law. History can kind of be both, but Okay, and then the hard subjects, which I learned from Marley Peterson, are music, art, poetry, story, and nature. And then I just feel like there's 10 other things that I feel like I could fit any subject that you could ever imagine into one of those 10. So I just had to quantify it into 10 things. And then, let's do the next slide. Then I had to spend, this is just how my brain works. I hope this doesn't overwhelm anybody. It's just, I'm trying to help you see a big picture. So the next thing I did was I took every one of those subjects and I wrote down everything I could possibly think of that I could teach in those areas. So, I'm just saying like general ideas. Like you could play brain games, riddles, math puzzles for math. They're just ideas of things you could do. It kind of was born with the idea that my children could be like, oh, Mom, I don't want to do my traditional math lesson. Is there something else I could do? Oh yeah, let's play a game. Let's play a puzzle. Let's do a riddle. Let's do some, whatever, just things on that list. And then I did that with every subject and just started going through it. Okay, next slide. And then I did that with, the music, the dance. I kind of clumped all those together. Basically, it became a thing. Like every year when I'm planning, I look at this list and say, are any of my kids suffering in any of these areas and do they need to do more in this? And when they are getting near graduation, like so my oldest who's 16, I'm like, does he know these things well? Could he actually have an intelligent conversation about all of these things? And then I'm like, ooh, nope, he's kind of struggling a little bit in XYZ. So then I would make that a focus for the year. And then moving on to all my other subjects, all the family focus, and then the next page is just the next step. Okay, so after I did that, then I decided that I would create, let's do the slide that says goal sheet. This goal sheet is where probably Hannah has heard me speak about. It's where I fill out every one of these for every single child every single year. And I use that as a guide throughout the year. And at the end of the year, I say, did we do it, right? So I just say, what is Elijah doing for math? Oh, he's taking a class at Fire Canyon. So I would just write that in, language, arts, history, all that. The hard training, that section in the middle, I do all together as a family. So I can just write this year, I'm doing Bellom Inspiration Station. I'm going to use the Bellom magazine, and I'm going to supplement with Millennial Instructor, or something like that. And so I just kind of know those are my resources for that year. And then on the family focus, I have all 10 of my subjects listed, but I do not do all 10 of those. There is no way I could ever do all 10 of those. So I will just glance over theirs and say, Elijah is starting a business this year. So I'll look down at number 6 and say, all right, this year I'm teaching him QuickBooks. I'm teaching him basic accounting. I'm going to teach him how to set up a business and how to pay an employee, things like that. So that might be pretty much the only thing I focus really heavily on him for that year, but it just is a guide for me to look at and say, what does he need? And then down here, I have him set just one goal in the 4 areas of spiritual, intellectual, social, and physical. And sometimes there's more spaces because they sometimes like to set more goals. I just ask them to set one goal, and sometimes I set a goal for them, or one that I can kind of help them along with, especially if they're younger. And then I just make a list of all the extracurricular things they did that year. This is so fun. I look back at the things they did 5 years ago, and it's like, I got a log that I'm doing something, right? And I love that. Okay, so after I do that planning for each child, then I move on to how my brain can keep this all organized, because doesn't that seem a little bit overwhelming? Because now you have every child doing this for math, that for math, science, this, and now I'm focusing on teaching this, and how am I going to do all this? So I organize this into the mom tracker. I fill one of these out every single week for the entire school year. Here's all mine for this whole year. And I just definitely believe that things tracked are things improved. And I just like to track things in general, but I know that I do more because I track it. And so this is how it goes. So I feel like there's 5 elements to a successful homeschool day, in my opinion. The first one is having time every day for a child to develop themselves personally. So that time in the morning where it says personal prep and habits, those are lifelong habits that I'm asking my children to do, and they track it on a little thing. I have a slide of it, I'll just explain more later. It's just this little thing called Top List, and these are things I do every single day. I exercise, I get ready, I make my bed, I do my scriptures and prayer, I write in my journal, I practice Spanish, I eat breakfast, and there are things like I wanted to do every day. I practice the talent I'm working on. So while I'm doing that, they're doing that. And those are the things, like I said, I hope they do forever, because they just create a lot of joy. And then that next part, I decided to do a devotional to incorporate all my heart training. Now, this might seem like a lot, but it's so simple. I play one song for music. I tell a few scriptures, or we watch a great video, For art and poetry, we might look at one piece of fine art, or we might do an art tutorial, or we might make a craft. Like, it can be so simple. And then I always do a story. Sometimes I just tell them a story. Sometimes I read from our classic book. Sometimes we don't do any of that and we go skiing. And that's fine. I just cross it out and write skiing. It's really, really flexible. And then down here, that family focus section, so I've taken just what I feel like I can do for my family focus. So this year I'm doing an American history timeline. I'm reading seasonal books. I'm doing some notebooking, and I probably will never get to loop studies. That's an aspiration. Okay, and then I feel like the next part of homeschool for a successful day is useful work. I think it's so important for kids to be making dinner, going shopping, helping me with the food storage, running errands, going to appointments, scheduling stuff. We just do a lot of useful work. Specifically, we always have on their laundry and that they're helping with dinner and a lot of other things. And then I just have time for their core subjects that they need help in. So obviously on their top list, if they don't need help, then I don't have to put it on my tracker, because it's just out of sight, out of mind. They just do it. But those are things I need to do with them. So, am I at 10 minutes? Did anyone time it? I probably am.
I love it, all of that. It's still only till 1:30.
Oh yeah, totally. Because from 1:30 to 4, I have a billion other things to do. Yep, but I got all those on a separate tracker that I didn't bring.
Candice said you've got 4 more minutes.
Okay, 4 more minutes. Okay, so I'll tell you about my binders. Oh yes, go ahead.
Is there any way to get a copy of it?
Oh yeah, totally. I'll share all these with you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know how. Should we
You could pass around the email addresses.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, let me get a sure. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just tell you one more thing that I do, because I'm also a binder person. I love binders so much. Okay, so I have 3 binders that I have for myself, and I also have one for all the kids. So the first one is called our Jewels binder, and this is a lot of the heart training. So in here, every time I teach the kids a song, I usually will make some sort of graphic image, and we'll work on that song for a while, and then I print it off and I put it in their book. Sometimes I just keep it in my book because it could get way too massive. If we do a poem, I keep a list of every poem we've done, and then I have them write it for copy work, so theirs are all written, mine are printed. Sometimes I write it if I have time. But anyway, so I just keep a collection of all the poems we've memorized or that we've talked a lot about. I keep a Great Life section. So if we learn about Marco Polo, we'll draw pictures, we'll listen to a podcast, and we'll do a notebooking page for that. And we'll learn about the Fibonacci sequence, so we'll put that in there. Anyway, so it's just if they have a really great piece of writing, then they have a writing section. And then if we do memorize scripture, I'll also do something like that, and then we'll put all of our scriptures in there like that. So these are just special things that I just want them to keep from year to year and remember everything they ever memorized or learned, or just all in one place.
Candice?
Yeah.
Do you have a separate place for any other papers, or is it just that's their binder?
No, I do have a separate place. It's a drawer called the homework drawer, and I just put everything in there because kids are really emotional about getting rid of stuff too soon. So I keep it for a whole year, totally disastrous, but in one, contained drawer. And then at the end of the year, we sort it all. And then we look at all of it and I say, Kaya, what do you want to keep? She's willing to toss out like 75% of it. She's like, nah, dumb. She throws it out. Then there's like a little percent of things that like they don't really care about keeping, but they kind of want to. So I lay it all out and I take a picture of them with it. They're like smiling and they have like 50 papers. And you can like zoom in and see it. And then there's like probably 30 to 40 papers, 10, 20, who knows, that I'll keep, put in a manila envelope and file away in that year for that child. So that's kind of how I keep a million other things. Okay, then every kid, I also do a vision board, like a personal development binder. So in the beginning of it, I would have their individual goal sheet, like I told you, so that they can see like what we plan for them. And then I'll have them set goals in those categories, so they'll type a visual for it, like that, take a cold shower, know what they want to read a day, their spiritual stuff, so they can kind of look through it. They can print these and put them on the wall if they want, but I like it in a book so you can keep it year to year, what they've been working on. And then the last binder that I do is specifically Bel-Am related, so it's all of our special stuff sorted by country. So, like the first month was China, and so we went really in depth with China. So like I put all the stories from China that we learned. We drew a dragon. This is mine. Like I do everything with my kids as they do it. So everything that has to do with China that we did, I'll put sort of like that in a binder that is separated by country. So it's kind of similar to the Jewels binder, but it's by country versus by topic. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much.
What is your kid, you said your kids have binders, is that their vision?
Yeah, okay, so this is Elijah's. So I have
that is
one, and
okay.
each kid has one,
Okay.
yeah. And then each kid has a Bel-Am binder, so their binder looks just like mine does. And they have all their own art in it and their own stuff. And then they each have their own Jewels binder too. So then they put their own specific poem in there that they wrote and their own specific, scripture or whatever.
How do you allocate or know how much time to certain things? Because I've done that where I'm like, I anticipate half an hour on this, and then it's like an hour, and then it throws my whole.
I feel like that's the hardest thing on planet Earth, and I feel like you just got to get in there and do it, and then you have to be flexible. You have to say, you know what, I'm going to spend an hour on math today, so I'm not going to do this other thing, and that's okay. I feel like you just got to get in there, and I've had to adapt and readapt time and time again. It used to be that I felt obsessed with having to do math with my child every day, and then I was like, I'm to a point where I need him to do an online program, and that's okay. And then I get to spend 5 or 10 minutes doing something that they really need from me. So it's just trial and error, and you can kind of see my time frames on that. Like I try to give an hour for devotional, I try to give an hour for core stuff, but it just varies.
Thank you.
What kinds of things, if any, do you have in place to motivate, reward, positive, maybe negative consequences? Anything that you have for that?
In the past, I used to pay them $1 a day for the top list, but then they didn't need it anymore. Oh gosh, I don't know. Definitely they can't go play with their friends until they have stuff done. So that's definitely kind of like a built-in thing. I don't really have any other things or toys or things like that. I haven't needed them really. Yeah, okay, so maybe, you answer that one.
I'm just saying, I can.
Yeah, okay, you do that one. I'm not qualified to answer that question.
That's just like,
I was asked to talk about how I plan homeschooling for my year, and you break it down into my year, my month, and my day. So my year, I go by the rotation of the Well-Educated Heart. It's a great format that's just like proven and works, and it just flows so much easier. So if you go to the website and you can scroll down, it'll tell you what each month. So in September, we just focus on these categories. I don't even really press math, science. I just look at what I want to teach of that category. That's how
What was your name again?
Oh, sorry. My name is Celestial Noot. My last name is Noot, and it looks like Newt, and it rhymes with boot. But it's not. It's Dutch. So It's
Sounds like-
note, like a music note. And in the Netherlands, it's actually a nut. So I'm a nut. I actually traded my double L's for double O's. My maiden name was Angel with double L, and I just had to trade it for double O's instead. So I will look at each month, and that will be what I focus on, like any moments in our daily schedule that I feel like we have extra time and the kids are coming to me saying they're bored. I'll pull out this and I'll be like, hey, this is what we're doing. And I'll find some fun videos, or we'll play a game. I have a couple games that are history things. Like, I just look out for things to put into my life that would connect to these topics. And we go through books a lot. And then I look at my month. So that's the next picture. Yep, that one. So my month, I go off my menstrual cycle. It's how I know what my energy will be like, because then if I have more energy, we do projects, which my monthly starts and ends and starts with the luteal cycle. So this is where we get most of our projects in. All of our projects, all of our service projects, things that I want to be extracurricular, go out and do, that's when we use my energy for that. Then we go into my menstrual cycle, and even if you're not on your menstrual cycle and you're pregnant, or maybe you skip, your hormones are still going through the cycle. So stay on the cycle and write it, because your hormones are doing it, so use it. So we do snuggle time a lot during that week. We don't focus on going out and doing service projects or doing a science-based project. No, we don't do that. We skip it for another week. It's not that important. It can wait till later. We utilize my low energy there. And I can tell my kids love it better when it's the same energy. Exercise and rest goes into the follicular. So you can challenge yourself, do something new, try something exciting, make something new with the kids, with a new recipe. Have the kids help you more. You'll have more patience during this week. And then your ovulation cycle, you'll have your most energy. So it just it goes from low to medium to you can start new projects, and then you'll be able to finish them throughout the next 3 weeks, and then start again where you're low energy. So I look at my month and I base it off that. And then we go to my day. And my day, I have created a music routine. Every morning we do.
Against the clock? Tired of the daily struggle to get everyone ready and out the door? What if we told you there's a simple way to turn chaos into calm, stress into success, and rush mornings into smooth sailing? Introducing the Motivation Morning Music Routine, a carefully crafted collection of energizing songs and gentle voice prompts designed specifically for busy families like yours. In just 60 minutes, watch as your children naturally stay focused, motivated, and excited about their morning tasks. From making beds to brushing teeth, from getting dressed to grabbing backpacks, every step becomes effortless with the power of music. No more nagging, no more rushing, no more stressful mornings. Just press play and let the music guide your family through a peaceful, productive start to every day. Your new morning routine begins now. Are you ready to transform your mornings forever? Let's make mornings magical.
So this is an hour routine. I have another one that is condensed to 45 minutes, but it's for when you get really, 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 really good at it. And the kids are like, hey, I'm done, and you've still got songs playing, and you're like, we need to move on. So I do have a condensed version, but the 60-minute, it's been pretty like a fail-safe. I have a reward system in place that it even says, okay, get excited, it's time to start our game, where you can earn enough points to have a private date. point number 1 is, and it goes through 15 points that I have found to just really, if you can scroll down a little bit, it's been researched that children thrive through routine, and it creates a sense of stability and safety. When kids know what to expect, they can do it more easily and enjoyably. And then the next, which music helps everyone move faster. It's been proven that you can run faster with music. And I've seen it in my own kids. They completed more of their tasks without the big fight to just go do the simplest of tasks.
What are the tasks on there?
So, yes, music. Music helps make the smooth transitions. I found that with music, there's a reason why we go clean up, everybody do share, clean up, everybody everywhere. We all know it. It's because transitions with music work. And I have my bachelor's degree in human life and family life and human development with a early childhood development emphasis. And preschool, when I taught, it was so much easier if we had a music to transition into the next thing we were doing. So I do the same thing with my homeschool, and it works even with not homeschool, because you're just gonna get out and go out the door easily. So the 15 tasks are, it was in the video, but it went really fast. So it's stretch like a cat, make your bed, brush your teeth, shower or wash your face, go to the bathroom, get dressed and put away your clothes, and then it goes to make your breakfast, eat your breakfast, clean up your breakfast, read a book for 5 to 10 minutes. Then it goes to picking up your toys, picking up garbage, and doing your act of kindness. Act of kindness is what you learn throughout the whole year. I do not change it on my kids. They have one job the entire year. They get good at it. And the act of kindness is because you're doing it for everyone. It's not just you picking up your own toys. It's not just you picking up your own garbage. It is picking up for everyone in the entire house. That is an act of kindness. So it's their main chore. They can't earn any money. They can't do any extra chores until their act of kindness is complete.
That's a good way to call it.
Their act of kindness is just a nice way to say, this is your task and get good at it. I've got kids picking up the shoes. That's a big one in my house. The shoes are everywhere, and I have a 1-year-old that takes them everywhere. But the 7-year-old doesn't mind doing it, so she cleans that up. I have another daughter, her clothes are everywhere, but there are clothes everywhere too, so I have her pick up the clothes that are on the floor for everyone. I have another one, dishes. He goes and picks up all the dishes in all the rooms for everyone, every day. And then you can kind of break it down to my toddler, all of her sticky hands are probably everywhere, so I give her a cloth and she goes and wipes up all the sticky finger hands. Okay, 2 more minutes. And so that helps my family get everything done in 60 minutes. So I feel good to go and do the rest of my day, which I look for things like co-ops to fulfill. So I'm like, oh, we need to focus on science. And I don't really like teaching science. So I found a co-op and I made a co-op that does science every week. And I do something from 2 to 3 hours a day outside of the home, which is why I needed something to get my kids out the door every day. So I do that. I have a well-educated heart co-op group that meets on Mondays, so we go do that. I have a science group that meets on Tuesdays. I have a Wednesday group that does field trips and parties, and that's our getting out there and having a fun adventure outdoors. Thursdays I have a PE rec center STEM group that I send my kids to. And then Fridays I have another park group that we spend time looking at nature and finding nature studies. So I find stuff for my kids to do for 2 to 3 hours that fulfill the education needs that I may be lacking and can't quite get to, or and then I also have iPads that are locked down for each child. They can only play games. I let them have fun games, but they can only play for a certain amount of time every day, and I don't have to keep a track of it. I'm like, sorry bud, you used up all your time. It says so. And he goes, oh, okay. What else can I do on it? And it's got reading, reading.com, education.com, Osmos games that do a lot of math and science and shapes and colors and things that are really fun for all ages, and my 10-year-old even enjoys it. So those things are able to supplement a natural process of having fun, but then once that time's over, they still want to be on the tablet, and so they just do it naturally. And that's how I mostly plan my year, my month, and my day.
Thank you so much.
My water, and I brought my homeschool uniform, guys. Love it. It's like my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And the pockets, you can just pick up everything as you go around the house, right? So nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my family, and it just feels like I gotta talk about them first, because that's what I'm all about, right? So my kids are ages 1 to 15, as you can kind of see there. 3 girls and 4 boys. Okay, next slide. I don't want to talk too much about me, but I'm a creative, and so a lot of the way that I do things, you'll kind of see it's kind of a creative, artistic flow. So I thought, you know, Candice is my dear friend, she's really systematic. I thought it's gonna be totally different, but we actually have some similarities. So I'm excited. And some similarities with Celestial too. So I think it's so cool how we're all so different, and I think that it's such an honor and a gift as mothers to curate our homes and our lives. So if you guys didn't read that yet, I love Jesus, number 1. I love creating beauty in the ordinary. I have a passion for family history. That's a big part of our schooling. I really believe that each of us have a life mission, and that is a really big part of our homeschool. We have a deep appreciation for the arts in our home, for visual arts, for music. My children love to play music, and I'm kind of an introvert, and I really like quiet, so it's a little tricky, but it's really neat too. We love to create. We love to make messes. We love to cook and bake and things like that. I have a sister-in-law who is the best homemaker as far as a cleanly house, and every time she comes over, I'm like, oh. She's probably so uncomfortable. So I can't claim that my home is like that, but it is alive, and that's what I'm going for. So, okay, next slide. The methods that we use. So the methods that we use, Montessori, Charlotte Mason, and TJ Ed. So you can see this little shelf here with my little boys. Those are my boys who are now 12 and almost 15. And that was my first love, was Montessori. So my oldest, he went to a Montessori preschool, and really I didn't really plan to homeschool at that time, but it kind of started to unfold, and him going to that preschool was a huge part of that. I just learned about approaching education in a totally different way and a totally personal way. I would go to pick up his teacher go to pick up him and talk to his teacher, and she would say things like, Jude is so sensitive, and here's how I see that working for good. And you know, when before I maybe would have thought, oh, he's so sensitive and that's so hard, you know. She really taught me how to view things differently. So Montessori, I dove into that. I started reading every book that Maria Montessori wrote. And I have this one called The Montessori Method, and I still have it. And when you open it up, there's all these notes. And, you know, Candice talked about these mentors, and Maria, she's not living anymore, but she became a dear friend to me. I'm probably gonna cry like several times, guys, but she really, I felt like I grew to know her, and just the love she had for children and her passion for education and wanting them to be independent, but also disciplined, and wanting them to shine for who they are. And it was just the most beautiful experience, just getting to know Maria and her method. So the Montessori method is a lot about practical life skills and having good boundaries for your children, but giving them the freedom to express that in their own way. So I love it. Charlotte Mason is pretty much how our home flow is. So that really is good books and nature, is how that works for us in our family. I just feel like a lot of the time I haven't felt like I even need to use or purchase a curriculum. If I've got good books and I've got nature, and I'll talk a little bit more about nature and kind of what that means for us, but if I've got those two things, then it just flows and it's beautiful. And by good books, I also mean scripture. Okay, TJ Ed. I love TJ Ed because as I was new to homeschool, I didn't feel like I knew what they needed at what age and stage. And as I read this book, thank you. It was such it just gave me rest. Okay, here's the stages that I need to focus on these things, and then kind of buckle down as they get a little bit older. So our biggest focus with our young ones, and as you saw in the picture, I have quite a few young ones still, is really creating that love of learning and fostering their curiosity. So you can see these little boys here, they're super good at being curious. A little too good at that. So also I wanted to touch real quick on this snake. Okay, something I learned, I did have this little like guide that I found when we first started homeschooling, and it was called Crunchy Farm Baby, and it was like a little preschool guide, and it had this little tip in there, and it said, as your children are exploring bugs and animals and snakes and things, try really hard to stay neutral to it and don't act freaked out by it. And I kind of just adopted that method, and it has made me braver too. So now I love holding a snake that my kids find. And in the beginning, they would be picking up bugs, or they'd be finding little lizards, and I don't know, but I would just pretend like, oh wow, that is so neat, And then it just got to where they were always bringing it to me, and I started to see the beauty in it more. And it just kind of became this funny part of our family culture where now it's like they bring a snake home, and I'm just like pumped about it, like, yeah, let me hold that. That's so fun. Okay, so next slide.
What was it called? Crunchy?
I don't know if it exists anymore.
Crunchy
So
Farm Baby.
Crunchy Farm Baby. I need to look it up,
Right.
but I just remember it because it's like my first thing I ever, found. Okay, so this is just some pictures of one of the family traditions that we've always had since we started homeschooling, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really thin back then. That's nice. I thought it would be nice. Okay, so and you can see me reading the Millennial Instructor right there. So that's maybe write that down. The Millennial Instructor. So Allie Eisenach, she's just like amazing. She writes those, and sometimes I contribute to those too. It's so fun. Okay, so that's a side note. But one of the traditions that we do is every year to welcome in the school year, we have some sort of nature outing. It's usually camping or a hike, and it always includes a picnic, a beautiful picnic, because I just love food. So This second one, I prepared like this homemade, just beautiful like little pudding cups in glass for these tiny little children, which is a little crazy. And I like set them out on this tray, and then one of the kids knocked them and they all fell everywhere. And that's just kind of the theme of this, is that something crazy happens every time. And it's just like this battle of like, okay, are we gonna like succumb to the difficulty, or are we gonna work together? I remember one year we were going up to Bryce Canyon, and I just like had this vision. I wanted to be on the top of this hill, like The Sound of Music. And we're like pulling, do you remember this trend? We're like pulling this wagon up. The kids all have something in their hand, and they're just little. It's just crazy, but we're just pulling this big wagon up, and it's just like so hot, because we always go in August, but we usually go somewhere a little cooler. Anyway, and it's just there's always like just a really awesome story after this happens of just like going through something hard and getting through it. And then the picture, you just never know. And the kids look back and they look at that and they, oh, I remember that, and they remember it fondly. So what we like to do is we like to go out in nature. We like to kind of have like a little celebration. We have blessings from Dad. I give him a little gift. We take our back to school pictures, and it's just a special thing that we do to welcome in the school year. And this last one over here, I just had a baby, and so it was just in our backyard, but that's okay. It was really good too. Okay, so Celestial, I like how she talked about routine and how that is important, and I believe in that so strongly. I think that routine is a really important part of creating strong family relations and just helping children to feel safe and to thrive, really. And so we're pretty routine, and I honestly, for me, if we could just be home every day, that's what I want. You have a question? 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay. It's so hard for me to condense things. Okay. So I'll just cut that short. So we're big on routines. We do the same things the same time of day. We do the same things the same time of year every year. Okay, you can move. Thank you. Okay, personal mission. I talked about this a little bit, but I believe that we each have a personal mission, and the way that we form our homeschool is by considering our children's personal missions, and the extracurriculars, the studies, the groups we join, they all have to do with that. So here's an example. Like I had wanted my kids to get in this awesome nature group this year, but I got thinking about it, and I was praying and pondering over my children, and I'll talk more about that too. And I just realized, I jumped the gun on this. This is not aiding in their personal missions, at least for this year. So I kind of had to change course. Ideally, you would know that before. You'd have to withdraw, but okay. So my son here, he with the guitar, he is really passionate about music, and he's in this little band with his brother there. His brother is the pianist and lead singer, and which is kind of funny because he's the youngest and the least focused, and the band is like, this is so important, you're the lead singer, buddy, please just practice your songs. So Peach Days, Florida Tech Road, check them out. My daughter here, she has always wanted to own a bakery, and so our big homeschool project this year has been opening a little micro bakery at home, a porch pickup bakery, and we take orders, and we are going to start doing little pop-up shops and eventually get to farmers markets. So those are just some of the things, I consider that our school, these endeavors that are for my children, that is fostering their passions and who they really are. Okay, some lessons learned. So I have learned that homeschool is so much more than just teaching at home. And I'm really learning that lesson right now, because as I've been praying and pondering over my children, some of them I have felt they need to go to public school. And I have homeschooled from the beginning, so that is not something I ever planned on, and not something I really want to do. But I do try to, I have always said, if I feel inspired that they're supposed to go, then they need to go. And And God is a big part of me forming and shaping our homeschool. And I think he's a lot smarter than me. So I'm trying to listen, and I'm trying to not throw a fit, but sometimes I do about it. But we'll see. I'll have to tell you guys how this year goes. Okay, homeschool. Oh, okay, but what I want to say about that is that as I've been thinking about putting kids in school, I'm like, you know what? Our culture has totally changed in just choosing to homeschool. My learning and all of the things that I do at home, I'm constantly learning to be an example to them, to be part of their learning. You know, we listen to different music, we have different activities, we cook together, and I had an experience where one of my sons was born with a cleft lip and palate, and he was going to a speech therapist, and the speech therapist said, okay, I'm observing him. She was kind of just observing him while he was jabbering. He was 2. And she said, wow, I expected he would be behind, but he's actually ahead in speech. So that's interesting. So tell me what you're doing. And I said, oh, we homeschool. She said, okay, you homeschool. This is why. And it is because homeschool moms narrate. Homeschool moms are always saying what they're doing, and they're explaining everything that they do. And that was just a special moment to me of, obviously when you have a baby with special needs, you think, am I still supposed to homeschool? This is kind of a lot, but I kind of realized, okay, wow, this is divine. He's in this environment where he's learning to the very best way that he can. Okay, homeschool looks different every year. So speaking of that, there have been some years, I'm just gonna be totally honest, where it's just like totally unschool. It's like, okay guys, you gotta be independent. I'm caring for this baby, and this is a lot, and I will read to you, and I will guide you, and you can come to me with help, but it's gotta be more chill this year. And it's been, again, like just being prayerful, like, is this still right? And it's just incredible how it's worked out. And my 2 oldest have been the most unschoolied kids, and they're so passionate about learning, and they're such self-starters. So it's just incredible. We went to a conference once where there was a homeschool researcher, and he said that the statistics show that kids love learning and test better unschooled than even public school kids. So I thought that was really interesting, and that helped me. Okay. So and then I think I talked about that pretty good. Okay, so I've got these 2 practices, and I'll just say them real fast because I'm out of time, but this watch care record, I made this little guide, and this is what's kind of similar to what Candice does. Every year I like to take time to just assess my children and their needs, and I have these little papers where I'll just write down their strengths, their talents, their personal mission, that I think it is, concerns, all their different needs. If you guys want this, then I can send this to you too. But and then I'll write down all my thoughts, and then I will pray, and I will kind of just listen and write down the thoughts that are coming by inspiration. And that has given me so much guidance. I could talk about this for a really long time. It's really special, so it feels kind of sad to rush it, but this has been the #1 guide for our homeschool, is just taking time to think about each individual child, to remember all of their strengths and all the reasons that you love them, and how, just what incredible individuals they are, and then to pray and hear what God thinks about it all, and to use that. Okay, Sabbath schooling is just a quick thing, and you guys can look that up. My next slide will have the resource to that. My friend told me about this method. It's super cool. And this has been like a game changer for me. So we'll do 6 weeks on of school, and then we'll do 1 week off, where we kind of just pause, and I will do a lot of food preparation. That's why the picture of the food up there. I'll do food prep, I'll do lesson planning, and all that kind of thing, and then we hop back onto our 6-week schedule. So I think that's it. Next slide, I think, yeah. So you can take a picture of this, and that just shows some sources. So the Sabbath school, my friend, Brittany, she told me about that. And then, yeah, you can email me if you want this. And then Simple Wonders, I didn't touch on that very much, but she has great Charlotte Mason guides, which I illustrated, so this is kind of fun. Okay, that's it.
Sorry guys, I know, it's just a sample of all of them. We could have had all of them speak all evening and it would have been wonderful. So hopefully for the next, 15 minutes, you guys can ask them questions and
You say the range of the ages of your kids, like the ages or?
Yeah, mine are ages almost 8 to 16.
You wanna sing each one?
Oh, is that all? Oh, okay, I have an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 14-year-old, 16-year-old.
Okay, one, I gotta.
Go bottom.
I know, I need like the picture. Okay, 1-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 9-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old. I have so I'm pregnant, due in January, so that's exciting. And then I have a 1-year-old who will be 2 in January. So then it goes 4, 6, 8, 10. And then I have a 15-year-old sister and a 17-year-old brother who I did homeschool. So I'm the oldest of 9 kids. Yeah, I'm the oldest of 9 kids. So.
Where's your degree?
My degree was Family Life and Human Development from Southern Utah University, and I went to Snow College as well.
How do you govern and schedule your like taking care of family life, home laundry, all that, and like do this well?
I feel like I'm always asking my husband and God that. How do I? Let's see, I would say systems. So every kid in our family has a zone that they're in charge of doing, and we have a little coin system it's just like these little wooden coins, and they put it in a jar, and when they fill their jar they can dump it in the bigger jar. So if they fill their jar they get a prize. If the big jar gets to a certain rubber band, then it's like a family activity. So that works well for us. And then as far as like, yeah, I found like I used to have a laundry day, but now I have to do it every single day. So just like a load of laundry every day, or I get a little behind. Saturdays we do family cleaning. I had my friend who does the Charlotte Mason guide, Simple Wonders. She said this thing to me once. She said I can do 2 out of 3 things well. I can do a nice, healthy home-cooked dinner. I can have a clean house. I can do really good homeschool lessons, but I can never do all 3. So that's helped me. Like sometimes it's 2, and sometimes it's 1. I have a couple of things that help me do that. I have an app that's called Spin the Wheel. And if kids come to me and say I'm bored, I let them spin the wheel. And there's chores on the wheel, intertwined with popsicles and candy, and so it's a random thing. They might hit the jackpot, but this jackpot is like you can rig it. So, and I rig it, and the kids don't know because it looks the same. I also have one for me that if I feel bored and I don't know where to start, I'll just spin it, and that's where I start. I also have a yes and no spinner, so if I have a question, I just spin it, and whatever it is, I'll go do it, and if it says no, I get to go do something else. I have ADHD, and this is how I roll. And then, second thing, I do have I have a list for each kid of things that, so I ask the youngest person to do the task they can do. So if we're, for instance, starting a fire, my 10-year-old knows how to build a fire, but she doesn't think it's fun. But my 6-year-old might have some coaching to do, but he would be loving to do that fire. So I try to or the laundry, I have certain kids that it's new for them and it's exciting for them to do. So I let them do it, even though it will take me a little bit longer than doing it myself. I'll let them do it instead of asking the oldest that thinks, oh, you always ask me to do everything. Why do you always ask me? I'm like, well, I know you can do it,
But I've been trying to more so ask the youngest person that can do that job. And they end up having fun instead of feeling like they're being picked on.
Yeah, so I would just say that I build in that morning time for me because those are the things that I feel like I need to do to be my best self. And it's just, that's why we don't start the homeschool till 9:30, sometimes 10. And then at 1:30, I give myself an hour, realistically 2 hours in the office. And during that time, the kids are just having a ball. They're having fun. They're playing. They're doing whatever they want. And sometimes I set up things for them to do. Sometimes it's just free. But I do a lot of office time. I have to prep things. I run a business. I've got all kinds of church responsibilities. And so I spend an hour or two every day in my office. And then I get out of the office like at 4 or something. And then it's like straight into running carpools, making dinners, things like that. But I think I have a good system of a family council every Sunday. And I just have a different chart for that where I just really plan like what are the traditions we want to do? What are the holidays coming up? How can we serve as a family? Which families do we, which friends haven't I seen in a while? And I take that time on Sundays to kind of prep, and that really helps to keep things flowing.
With asking the kids to do it, if they say yes and they do it, they get to get a quarter to put in a gumball machine. So it's instant gratification. They might get 1, they might get 2. At the end, they get to put their name on the quarter, and then at the end we divvy it out, and whoever, at the end when it's full, we'll put it in, and that's when we talk about tithing and how much they earn, and or service, and then we talk about what they can invest it in if they want to make more money with that money. And then also Thursdays are cleanup day, because that's my drop off time that I can get all 3 kids gone for 3 hours. And then my husband and I just knock it out for Thursday. It's nice that he works at home, so we can do that. So if you want to see my house clean, come Friday.
Or Thursday.
Or Thursday right after. Yeah, evening.
Yeah,
Thursday evening. I guess I'll just add, I do feel like if children can do something, let's have them do it. So maybe that sounds silly, but I'm thinking about my 3-year-old. She can make a peanut butter jelly sandwich. So if she can do that, I'm gonna have her do it. And that helps a lot with a big family, where I kind of have adopted that. If you're capable, then I'm gonna let you do it. I'm not gonna do anything for you that you're capable of doing. I mean, of course, as a mom you do, but for the most part, they're part of the family and they're chipping in their own little part, and it does give them, and that's a big Montessori principle, it does give them just such ownership and excitement about being part of the family. Okay.
You had a question?
I have a 3 going on 4 and 5 going on 6, so they're like pre-K. Did any of you guys have an experience of how much time to put towards schooling, to put towards that realm, or were you more starting as older?
Oh, I think those years are very important. I don't think it needs to be solid at the desk kind of stuff. I think that's the time where you're bringing in beautiful stories and showing them nature, a lot of nature, practical life skills, and even fostering those seeds of who, for me, this is how I do it, those seeds of who they really are, and where they came from and where they're going, and family relations, I think, super important. So I would say an hour or 2 of reading and maybe projects a day, but a lot of free play. And I love to put on playlists of classical music and even just instrumental music for them, and that's just playing all day, especially during that time.
I feel like up to an hour of kind of putting your intentions to.
Yeah, I think that's plenty.
Very minimal.
Yeah.
I'd say even less. It's probably a good so reading.com. I'm doing that with my 3-year-old right now, and I've done it with all my kids. They loved it, but I'm also working on it still with my 6-year-old. It's basically 100 lessons. It's how to learn to read in 100 lessons or less, but in an app, and it says 15 minutes. And it's just a 15-minute lesson with you and them. and they love it. They'll climb up on my lap and even ask, reading.com? I'm like, yeah, you can do reading.com.
I have a question about navigating working from home, homeschooling, because that's kind of been my, just for some background information, I've worked from home, and the last 2 years, my son's 8, we started homeschooling, and then he's also the only child, so I was concerned about, just him, because he's so social, having that learning environment that he likes to, lead in, but my boundaries just have always gotten mushed. Because even when I try to do the homeschooling and then set certain time to work, I have a hard time saying no to him. So he'll come with questions, and he has some really amazing questions, and sometimes I'm not even prepared to answer, so I've created like a little question wall. So I'm like, oh, it's a great question, and I'll put it on the sticky, and I'm like, we'll go over this on Friday or whatever it is. But do you have any tips for how to get, like, how to navigate that when they're,
Is it your own company or is it an hourly job?
It's not an hourly job. I have flexibility, but usually when I am working, I need to have that mindset.
Yeah, I get that. I'm like that too. And is it stuff that has to be done daily?
Not necessarily, unless it's like so I'm a professor, so I teach online.
Yeah.
And I have, unless a student is emailing me or needing some counsel on assignment, then I have to, be there for them too.
Right.
So.
Is it full time? I mean, are you doing 40 hours?
Not necessarily 40 hours, but I have I've gone up to 300 students sometimes a semester.
Yeah,
so it's a lot of volume.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it, but obviously he's my most important one, but I want to make sure I can stay balanced because I love doing that and I want to homeschool
it's so
him.
important.
But just what your experience.
I mean, I've never worked that many hours, so I can't speak exactly to, putting in, I usually only need to do about 5 to 10, and I definitely set those chunks of time, and I have things that the kids can do during that time, and I just plan it really carefully. Like, these are things you've got to do independently, try to have lots of activities for them, because I need uninterrupted time as well. But another thing I did when I had to work a little more hours is that on Thursday, are you married?
Yes.
On Thursday nights, my husband would take the kids from 5 till like however long, he'd do it all. And I would just bang out, like, sometimes if I needed like 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, I'd stay up late. I'd just get a whole bunch of stuff done because it was all in one chunk, and I work well, and I can do really well with like uninterrupted focused time. So I get a lot done like that, and that I was like, oh, I can do it on Thursday. And that helped me during those heavier hour times.
But what about like when you designated that time? Like, say, for instance, I have that flexibility, so if I do, normally I do like really early or late at night, and then I'll do a short gap in the day, and that will work, but it's the short middle gap in the middle of the day where sometimes I'm like, oh, I needed to get this done, and then he comes to me and it's like, okay,
so is it kind of like the interruptions, like how you just have to not feel so guilty? Is it kind of that, like how do you have something to say about that?
My husband works some from home, and we both homeschool our kids. So I would definitely say if you can move the short part of your day, move it to where your other ones have worked out better. But if you really, really can't, I would probably suggest find him a class to where you can work during that class and then not worry about the other times. Because my husband will take my kids to Thursday class, and he'll work there while they're at class, and then he'll bring them home, and he gets a lot more work done, and we don't spend as much gas.
I just wanted to thank our panelists for their wonderful wisdom, and I loved how there was overlap, but each is so different and individual to themselves and their families, and round of applause.